All right, let's preview Dolphins Bills, as this is a game that could have huge implications. Dolphins are already in the playoffs, but this could be the difference between them getting the 2 seed versus the 6 seed. As for the Bills, it could be the difference between them getting the 2 seed and being out of the playoffs altogether. That's how big of a swing it could end up being. Now again, if the Steelers or the Jaguars lose before this game, well then they would be in either way, but certainly would like to win to keep their, give themselves as good of a chance as possible heading into the postseason. So, figure to be worth a in-depth preview. Why not? And in this video, we're going to talk about the Dolphins offense. The Dolphins offense had a weird game the first time these two teams played. You see the final score, it was not close. And if you remember, the Dolphins were just coming off of a 70-point performance against Denver. The offense started off strong, but was not able to keep really consistently scoring down the field, and eventually Buffalo ran away with it, with them, again, scoring seemingly every drive. You look at the passing and rushing stats, the overall numbers are good. Like the yards per play across the board is very good, with the exception of Raheem Mostert, 7 carries for 9 yards. That wasn't anything to write home about, but Achane more than made up for it with his 12.6 yards per carry. I mean, that's a crazy high amount, pair of touchdowns as well. So the running game worked. The passing game, for the most part, worked as well. 280 yards on 35 attempts. But you look at who they were throwing to, you notice that it's really, spread out significantly across the board. Tyreek Hill, just 58 yards in this game, which, again, for a regular wide receiver, hey, that's a solid day, a bit on the low side for number one. For Tyreek Hill, that's like, that's like holding another good receiver to like 0 yards. Like that's like a disaster for Hill. Only 3 catches. Waddle had some catches. Braxton Berrios came through. Again, a lot of different guys came through, but that's one thing that does jump out at you is Hill was not used a lot in their week 4 matchup. I'm sure something that Dolphins fans will be, screaming at the table, hey, that was week 4, a long time ago. These are very different teams. Well, okay, how have they been over the course of the season? This chart is always a good one to look at when previewing teams. This is where Miami and Buffalo each rank in terms of certain positional categories. Miami on the left, that's where, offensive categories. Buffalo on the right, that's their defensive categories. And you see Miami first in passing, so that's Tua, good stuff by him. Second in receiving, whereas for Buffalo, they have been 4th in coverage. So it's great on great there, and the pass blocking versus pass rush is actually dead even, 17th best for both of them. However, the running game, I talked about their good running statistics, and it makes sense when you look at it. The Bills' run defense has not graded well, whereas Miami, they actually are the number 1 graded running team in football in terms of just, guy with the ball running. And run blocking, they've still been middle of the pack. So that's definitely an area where they can attack Buffalo. But let's watch some film. What went right and what went wrong earlier in the game? I do have to say, like, watching this, it feels like they need to make Tyreek Hill be a huge part of the offense. Tyreek Hill had 3 catches. He should have 10 in this next game. He really should, which he should have in every game, right? He's Tyreek Hill. He is your best weapon. He's the guy you got to run your offense through. He's your MVP candidate. This route, going to be, the Bills like to play a lot of zone. They were playing a ton of cover 2 zone in this game. So get someone over the middle. Watch as Tua's going to take the snap. They do run a play action to try to get linebackers out of position. And when Tua finally gets the ball over to Hill, there is a window for Hill. He's so difficult to cover. The Bills are going to play cover 2. They're going to keep safeties over Tyreek Hill. So get the ball in his hands in other ways. He doesn't have to be a deep threat. You can use him in other ways. Tua hits him on this one. That's what you have to do, I think, if you're Miami. I think that getting him the ball consistently can be a way you can move the ball down the field. I think that there's definitely some logic behind that. Because, look, listen, it's not like they can't scheme up guys to be open in other ways. Like something like this. It's a schemed up play to try and get your running back open on this play. This is going to be Mostert, who they're trying to see if they can get the ball to. Which, okay, let's see how it works. Watch as when Tua takes the snap, he is going to look in that direction. He fires in that direction, and there's really not much of a window at all here. This is a tough situation for Miami to try and make something happen. On this one, Tua actually made the throw, and Mostert made a good play. Like, listen, they're capable of doing this, but you don't want to make things too difficult on yourself, right? You want to make sure you can try to make things as easy as possible, and I think that a big way to do that is give yourself, throw it to your best player, right? Sometimes it's less about plays and more about players. That's how I would be viewing this. Because a lot of times things like this would happen where it's going to be a zone coverage play. And to me, this was the real, when things went wrong, which again, it wasn't a terrible offensive day. It wasn't. When your defense gives up as many points as their defense gave up, things are going to get off the rails quickly. But the reason why I think they couldn't get more points on the board in this game was I thought they were, and maybe it's just because they were coming off of that Denver game where everything worked. So they figured, okay, well, let's just keep doing our little, simple stuff. 2nd and 15 here. All right, let's just have a receiver, one receiver runs a deep route, clear stuff out, throw it to another receiver underneath. As you see, Tua takes the snap. He is going to look underneath. And, okay, listen, it's open here. But when Tua does get it over there, there's an immediate tackle, and they only gain a couple yards. And now it's 3rd and very long, and they weren't able to convert on it. So, that's the issue. And that's what you have to avoid if you're Miami. So, things have changed, and the Bills have had injuries since week 4, although I would say that they their backups have come in and played just as well. So I'm not too concerned over that. I still think this Bills defense is as good as it was week 4. But perhaps just getting punched in the mouth the way Miami did back in week 4 will be a good thing because they won't go into this cocky and they will say, okay, no, we can't be scheming up plays for Braxton Berrios and Raheem Mostert to get the ball. We got to scheme up plays to get Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill the ball. And again, in the running game, stuff like this, I think really works. I do think they can run the ball effectively. I just said, don't scheme up, you got to scheme up plays to get Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle the ball. Another guy that you want to get the ball, Devon Achane. He is back and healthy and had a casual 7.6 yards per carry, 100-yard performance against Baltimore, despite the fact that game also got off the rails quickly. So again, for Miami, got to make sure you can keep this competitive, and we'll preview the defense in the next video. But for now, how can they put up points? Well, stuff like this: get the ball in his hands, get him towards the outside. Watch as when Tua flips the ball. Right here. So those are the 2 Bills players that could potentially come in. They're unblocked. They could come in and try and make a play, as every other Bills player is kind of getting blocked out of the way here. But as you see, Achane's speed is just too much. He blows by all of them. He gets into the end zone for a touchdown. So his ability to do that is definitely something that I would be not afraid of if I'm the Bills. Because again, you won last time. You feel okay. But something I'd be very wary of. And something I would definitely be making sure I prepare for heading into the, a very important final game of the season. So, okay, predictions time here. So the Bills' defensive points per drive on the season was 1.7, which is a very good total numbers, one of the better numbers in the league, whereas the Miami Dolphins offensive points per drive is a very good number, one of the better points per drive numbers in the league at 2.65. However, week 4 it dropped down to 1.81. I'm predicting it to do better this time. I don't know if I can predict it to do a ton better, but I think I can predict it to do significantly better. I'm going with 2.1 points per drive. I do think they make an effort to run the ball, with more effective, run the ball more and make that a bigger part of their game, and also kind of scheme up plays to get Tyreek Hill to football. I think they're not going to make the same mistake they made last time of thinking that any guy can get 15 yards on any play. The Bills defense isn't going to let you do that. But I don't know if I can go too much higher. I do think the Bills can cover very well and they can frustrate the Dolphins, and I am a little concerned as well of could turnovers happen in this game, which is always a factor in any game, but that's something I would definitely be wary of. So 2.1 points per drive is my guess for Miami. Will that be enough to beat the Bills? Well, you'll have to watch my part 2 where I talk about the other side of the ball, the Josh Allen and the Bills going up against this Dolphins defense with Jalen Ramsey and everybody like that. So that should be interesting. Definitely make sure you check that one out. It'll be uploaded shortly after this one is uploaded, so don't worry about that. But yeah, check that out on this channel. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.